Peruvian Instant Darkness Powder. Peruvian Instant Darkness Powder is the moment Fred and George accidentally invented a war crime. First seen in Half-Blood Prince, it becomes infamous when Draco Malfoy, because of course it's Draco, buys a bag from Borgin & Burke's, the Walmart of dark objects, and turns a Hogwarts corridor into pure black chaos. This isn't turn off the lights, it's delete the concept of visibility. Lumos? Nope. Lanterns? Cute. Even professors are basically walking into walls hoping for the best. In the book, this blackout lets Death Eaters waltz into Hogwarts like they're on a VIP list. No one approved, overpowering students and leaving Bill Weasley torn up before the order arrives. The real danger is how fast it hits. 1 second, corridor, next second, tactical void. It doesn't matter if you're an Auror or a first year, everyone becomes equally useless. The attacker, however, sees everything. Fred and George meant it as a prank item. Draco used it like a boss fight mechanic. And just like that, a Weasley joke product briefly outperformed every Ministry security measure ever invented. Wildfire whiz-bangs. Wildfire whiz-bangs are the moment the Weasley duo agreed that Hogwarts would function much better as a magical demolition derby than an actual school. Introduced in Order of the Phoenix during their legendary escape, these fireworks don't just explode, they hunt. In both book and film, they burst into dragons, rockets, and spiraling fire serpents that actively chase teachers down corridors. And yes, Umbridge tries to stop them, but every counterspell she casts just makes them mutate or multiply, like the fireworks are personally offended by her existence. They may look festive, but magically they're miniature warheads. Whiz-bangs ricochet off walls, break windows, and erupt with enough force to rattle entire classrooms. One dragon-shaped blast nearly engulfs a teacher before spiraling into the ceiling in a dramatic "I quit teaching" flourish. Indoors, they're basically structural integrity roulette. Their true danger? They evolve. Stunning charms, banishing spells, aguamenti. Everything just powers them like chaotic Pokemon. The harder you try to stop them, the worse they get. Fred and George called them fireworks with personality, which is true, as long as you understand that the personality in question is agent of chaos with zero respect for school property. Patented daydream charms. Patented daydream charms are the Weasley twins' way of saying reality is optional. They come in sleek, innocent-looking packets that hide some of the most advanced spellwork ever sold across a joke shop counter. One bite and boom, you're not in History of Magic anymore. You're on a bench, in a duel, or starring in your own rom-com. It's basically magical VR, except there's no pause button and zero regard for your surroundings. Hermione, resident expert in This Is Dangerous, Please Stop, calls them extraordinarily complex spellwork. Translation: these charms temporarily override your conscious perception. Not distract, not daze, override. Your brain checks out and your body stays behind like a confused house elf, which is where the danger comes in. Use it in potions, enjoy your 30-minute fantasy while your cauldron melts through the table. On a broomstick? Congratulations, you're now dreaming and plummeting. Even in care of magical creatures, one daydream and suddenly you're hugging a blast-ended Scroot. The twins marketed them as harmless escape, but any charm that hijacks your consciousness this hard is one miscast away from becoming a full security incident. Fun? Absolutely. Safe? Only if your daydream includes health insurance. Shield hats. Shield hats and their later variants, shield cloaks and shield gloves, are among the twins' most impressive and dangerous creations. The first shield hat is tested on an unsuspecting Ministry worker. When hit with a stunning spell, the hat instantly deflects the curse, proving it can repel real offensive magic. This is Auror-level enchantment, not a joke shop gimmick. And that's where things get dangerous. Put one of these on a Hogwarts student and suddenly dueling practice becomes a live ricochet zone. A harmless jinx aimed at the wearer can rebound across the room, hit a wall, hit a classmate, and turn an otherwise normal Tuesday into a St. Mungo's group project. Canon states the Ministry bought them in quantity, showing they were considered viable defensive gear during rising tensions before Voldemort's return. But by allowing untrained witches and wizards to wear them, the twins essentially put advanced magical shielding into public circulation. A boon for safety, but a risk for misuse or uncontrolled spell rebound. Portable swamps. Portable swamps are one of Fred and George's most iconic creations, unleashed during the same legendary rebellion against Dolores Umbridge that gave us the Wildfire whiz-bangs. But while those fireworks attacked with explosive chaos, this invention was a completely different weapon, a slow environmental trap designed to turn Hogwarts itself against her. In the books, the swamp floods an entire corridor with murky, regenerating sludge. Trying to cross it is like stepping into a magical bog with trust issues. Students sink, teachers panic, and Umbridge's inquisitorial squad flails around like sad mandrakes in quicksand. Cleanup spells, worthless. The swamp simply grows back, because of course it does. The real danger lies in structural damage. A magically generated wetland can weaken floors, collapse aging beams, and trap anyone who steps into it. Students reportedly sank waist deep and needed ropes or levitation charms to escape. Flitwick eventually dispels it, but he keeps a section as a tribute. Wizard Professor Code for "This was dangerous, clever, and Umbridge 100% deserved it." Portable swamps aren't jokes, they're terrain warfare, turning Hogwarts into a swampy obstacle course with a vendetta. Decoy Detonators. Decoy Detonators are miniature magical devices introduced in Half-Blood Prince and prominently featured in Deathly Hallows. They look like tiny mechanical insects that scuttle across floors before exploding with a loud bang. Harry uses one inside the Ministry during the infiltration mission, and the blast is powerful enough to distract dozens of Ministry workers at once, creating chaos long enough for him to escape. Though sold as harmless distractions, they function much closer to miniature spell-powered bombs. They propel debris, knock over shelves, and in cramped environments can create the kind of chain reactions Filch has nightmares about. Drop one in a potions classroom and you're 3 seconds away from inventing a new hazardous substance. Canon also shows they have semi-autonomous movement, meaning once activated they choose their path unpredictably. This makes them difficult to control and potentially dangerous around crowds. The Ministry bans them during OWLs and confiscates them on sight, not because they're pranks, but because they're weapons disguised as toys, engineered with classic Weasley precision and zero Weasley restraint. Ton-Tongue Toffees. Ton-Tongue Toffees first appear in Goblet of Fire, when Fred accidentally drops one near Dudley Dursley. The candy's enchantment causes the victim's tongue to swell rapidly, so rapidly that Dudley expands to an absurd python-like length before his parents even realize what's happening. The books describe Dudley's gagging, unable to speak, breathe, or do much beside panic while the Dursleys scream in surround sound. What makes these toffees truly dangerous is the speed. The spell doesn't just enlarge the tongue, it overrides the body's ability to protect itself. A swelling that aggressive threatens the airway instantly, and even Arthur Weasley looks horrified when shrinking it back. If Arthur is alarmed, you know it's serious. The candy ignores magical defenses too. A skilled wizard could be mid-sentence and suddenly auditioning for longest tongue in Britain. Put those near small children, elderly witches, or anyone with health conditions and you've got a one-way ticket to St. Mungo's. Ton-Tongue Toffees are classic Weasley brilliance, hilarious in theory, terrifying in execution, and living proof that the twins should never be allowed to design medical candy ever again. Skiving Snackboxes. Skiving Snackboxes are the crown jewel of Weasley innovation. High-grade prank magic disguised as candy. Each sweet triggers a sudden dramatic health incident, designed to get you out of class faster than a vanishing spell gone sideways. Fainting fancies make you drop like your homework deadline just got moved up. Puking pastilles spark intense upset stomach episodes. Fever fudge sends your temperature soaring. And nosebleed nougats create the kind of mild but messy situation that shuts down any lesson instantly. What makes them truly dangerous is how fast they hit. Canon shows students kneeling over mid-lecture, teachers panicking, and Umbridge reaching levels of frustration previously thought impossible. Fred and George even had to design antidotes for every suite, because the effects can escalate if not reversed quickly, always a sign that the inventors themselves got nervous. The real risk comes from dosage. Take too much and the symptoms linger longer than planned, turning a clever escape tactic into a problem the school nurse actually needs to handle. Brilliant, absolutely. Safe only if you keep the antidote handy, and maybe avoid taking them during broomstick practice. Nosebleed Nougats. Nosebleed Nougats may be part of the Skiving Snackboxes line, but their effect is dramatic enough to earn their own spotlight. These sweets trigger an immediate, intense nose situation the moment the user bites down, designed specifically to get a student escorted out of class before Umbridge can ask a single question. Canon shows the effect accelerating fast unless the antidote half is taken right away. Fred and George tested these on classmates because of course they did, causing sudden attention-grabbing reactions that sent teachers scrambling for restorative charms. In the wrong environment, like near magical creatures sensitive to scent, or during fast-paced activities such as Quidditch, the surprise factor alone could become risky. The antidote reverses everything almost instantly, but forgetting it or giving a nougat to someone unprepared can turn a prank into a problem the nearest healer needs to address. Lightheadedness, confusion, or panic responses are all possible outcomes. To the twins, it's comedy. To everyone else, it's a magically induced, please step out of class immediately event, packaged as candy. Canary creams. Canary creams are one of Fred and George's earliest masterpieces. Full-scale transfiguration disguised as dessert. Introduced in Goblet of Fire, anyone who eats one instantly transforms into a giant yellow canary, feathers, wings, beak, and all, before reverting to normal a short while later. While hilarious, it's still advanced body-altering magic, the kind taught only in upper-level transfiguration. If taken accidentally by a young child, a muggle, or someone with magical instability, the shock of suddenly having wings and no hands could lead to falls, collisions, or pure startled chaos. The sudden shift in balance and anatomy is no joke, especially in a crowded hallway or near stairs. The biggest risk, however, is secrecy. In a muggle environment, watching a human burst into feathers would instantly break the statute of secrecy, and near magical creatures, some might not react kindly to a very confused, oversized bird suddenly appearing. Extendable ears. Extendable ears may look harmless, just long enchanted strings, but in Order of the Phoenix, they instantly prove themselves to be one of the most dangerous non-lethal inventions the twins ever unleashed. Not because they hurt anyone, but because they blow open top-secret operations faster than a Daily Prophet leak. Drop one under a door frame and you can eavesdrop through walls, floors, and entire headquarters. Harry and the Weasleys used them to listen in on Order of the Phoenix meetings at Grimmauld Place, conversations strictly meant for veteran members only. The danger becomes obvious when Molly Weasley confiscates them like they're nuclear material. Even magical creatures react to them. Mrs. Norris detects them instantly, and one stray ear nearly gets pounced on by Crookshanks. In the wrong hands, one extendable ear could compromise Auror missions, ministry departments, or the Order itself. They're so disruptive that Umbridge personally banned them during OWLs, which is ministry code for, we can't control this and it terrifies us. They may not injure anyone, but as far as security breaches go, extendable ears are Slytherin-level espionage, disguised as string. Headless hats. Headless hats are Fred and George's delightful way of saying, what if invisibility cloaks, but only the unsettling part. Introduced in Order of the Phoenix, these enchanted hats create a localized disillusionment effect that makes the wearer's entire head vanish while the rest of the body remains fully visible. Ron demonstrates one in the book, shocking nearby students who watch his head seemingly drop off, a reaction every Weasley considers a 5-star review. But behind the comedy is some seriously advanced magic. Selective invisibility is something adult wizards struggle with, and giving that power to teenagers is basically asking Hogwarts to become a live-action haunted house. In a crowded hallway, a suddenly headless student could trigger panic, collisions, or a prefect having an early existential crisis. The statute of secrecy risk is massive too. In a muggle environment, even a split-second head disappearance is impossible to explain without rewriting half the memory of a town. And around strong illusion spells, the enchantment can flicker or malfunction, creating nightmare fuel half-visible faces. If your brain survived this lesson, Snape requires your presence for the next assignment. All 11 wizarding schools in Harry Potter explained. Watch it now before the fireworks arrive.